with rich countries doing this? Why doesn't it work?
Well, the fundamental problem, the fundamental reason it doesn't work is there's a real lack of any kind of accountability to the poor people that we're trying to help. If you just contrast the situation with those of us who are lucky enough to live in free societies, we can hold the private or public suppliers of all of our needs accountable to us. So if we don't like a private firm's product, we can drive them out of business by not buying it. If we don't like what our government is giving us, we can vote them out of power, we can mount political protests. So we can hold our private and public suppliers accountable to us as free citizens. Unfortunately, the world's poor are not free citizens relative to the world's official aid agencies. They have no way of holding them accountable. The world's aid agencies can and do wasteful and foolish projects that totally miss the point of poor people's problems and never suffer the consequences, because poor people are not spending their own money, they have no means of protesting. Even on the rare occasions they do mount a protest, it never gets covered, no one is ever held accountable for that protest. And so poor people are just voiceless and helpless at the mercy of official aid agencies who frankly don't know enough what to do about their problems anyway.
Okay, and you worked for 16 years at the World Bank. What did that teach you about the importance of those kinds of international institutions in promoting development?
Well, I was in the research department of the World Bank, and there were a lot of good things going on there. The World Bank was able to attract some very good economists and preach some very good ideas about economics of development for a long time. But the World Bank suffers, as all the other aid agencies do, from the lack of accountability to the poor. And it suffers a lot, as other international organizations do, from political constraints, which cause censorship, which is obviously not good for the free exchange of ideas and deciding what works. So any idea that was deemed critical of the World Bank was automatically censored. And so the World Bank could never learn from its own mistakes, because it could never even admit that it had made any mistakes, and no one else was allowed to point out that it had made any mistakes. So there's no sort of culture of organizational learning that is required